It started on an ordinary day in a bustling university lecture hall. The professor, a man known for his sharp wit and dismissive attitude, stood at the front of the room. His words were meant to cut, and they did. When a young black student raised her hand to ask a question, he laughed, a dismissive chuckle that echoed through the room. "You'll never make it in academia," he said, his words dripping with condescension. The room fell silent, the weight of his words hanging in the air. But what no one realized in that moment was the fire he had just ignited. The student, quiet yet determined, didn't let his words define her. She had a dream, and she wouldn't let anyone stand in her way. Years later, in a twist no one saw coming, she returned to the same university, not as a student, but as the new dean. The student, whose name was Maya, had grown up facing challenges her entire life. She was no stranger to being underestimated. Raised in a small town, she was taught by her parents to value education and hard work, even when the odds seemed stacked against her. Maya had dreamed of becoming a leader in her field, someone who could inspire others and bring about change. But in that moment, standing in the lecture hall as laughter rippled through the class, her confidence was shaken. Still, something inside her refused to give up. She spent late nights in the library, working harder than ever, determined to prove herself. While her peers moved on from the incident, Maya carried it with her, a constant reminder of what she was up against. Yet instead of letting it break her, she used it as fuel. Little did anyone know, her journey was only beginning. Maya's determination didn't go unnoticed. Her professors, peers, and even staff members began to see her as a force to be reckoned with. She earned top marks, presented at academic conferences, and became involved in community initiatives aimed at increasing diversity in education. But beneath the surface, the sting of that professor's words lingered, and so did the subtle biases she faced every step of the way. Meanwhile, the professor, Dr. Whitman, continued to treat Maya with thinly veiled disdain. He would question her research during class discussions, often dismissing her contributions as irrelevant. Maya, however, responded with poise, her quiet confidence growing stronger with every challenge. While others whispered about her struggles, she focused on her goals. One day, she came across an opportunity to mentor younger students who reminded her of herself. As she guided them, she realized her battle wasn't just personal. It was part of something much bigger. Maya's dedication paid off when she was accepted into a prestigious doctoral program. Her name began appearing in academic journals, and her groundbreaking research caught the attention of influential scholars. She was no longer just a student trying to prove herself. She was becoming a leader in her field. But as Maya's star rose, so did the tension between her and Dr. Whitman. At every turn, it seemed he was determined to undermine her success, making subtle remarks in professional settings and questioning her achievements. Despite this, Maya kept pushing forward. She focused on her work and the students she mentored, creating a network of support that was growing stronger by the day. But things came to a head when the university announced a search for a new dean of the faculty. Maya's name was quietly floated as a candidate, a suggestion that sent shockwaves through the department, especially to Dr. Whitman. The news of Maya being considered for the dean position spread quickly. While many celebrated her accomplishments, whispers of skepticism began to circulate. Some questioned if she was too young or too ambitious, while others wondered if the department was ready for such a bold change. Dr. Whitman, however, took the news personally. For years, he had been a dominant voice in the faculty, shaping its direction. The thought of someone he once dismissed so easily rising above him stirred something deep within. Maya, unaware of the full extent of the tension, continued her work. But one day, she received a surprising call. A colleague warned her that Dr. Whitman was quietly lobbying against her, using his influence to sway the selection committee. Maya's confidence wavered for the first time in years, yet she knew she couldn't let fear take over. Instead, she prepared for what was coming, a chance to stand her ground and prove once again why she belonged. The day of the final decision arrived, and the tension was palpable. Maya was asked to present her vision for the faculty in front of the selection committee. She spoke with passion and clarity, outlining plans for inclusion, innovation, and support for underrepresented students. Her words resonated deeply, drawing nods of agreement from many in the room. Meanwhile, Dr. Whitman sat silently, his expression unreadable. After Maya's presentation, the committee convened to deliberate. Hours passed, each moment heavier than the last. When the announcement finally came, Maya was named the new dean of the faculty. The room erupted in applause, but Dr. Whitman remained seated, his face a mix of disbelief and resignation. However, the twist came during Maya's first week as dean. She called a meeting with Dr. Whitman, not to confront him, but to invite him to collaborate on a mentorship program. Surprised, he reluctantly agreed, realizing that her success wasn't just a victory for her, but for the entire institution. Maya's leadership proved that rising above conflict wasn't just about winning. It was about lifting others along the way. Maya's tenure as dean began with purpose and determination. She didn't dwell on the struggles she had faced, but used them as a foundation to build something greater. Under her leadership, the faculty flourished. She introduced mentorship programs, created opportunities for diverse voices to be heard, and fostered an environment where students and staff alike could thrive. Dr. Whitman, though initially hesitant, began to see Maya in a new light. Over time, his resistance softened as he witnessed her ability to lead with strength and grace. Their unlikely collaboration on the mentorship program became one of the department's most celebrated initiatives, changing the lives of countless students. Maya's story became a symbol of resilience and perseverance. It reminded everyone that setbacks and challenges can be stepping stones to greatness. And as she walked through the halls of the university, she knew she had not just rewritten her own story. She had changed the narrative for others too.